The brain is divided into areas which are each responsible for different areas of functioning. The brain can be divided into three basic units: the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. These areas are occipital lobe, temporal lobe, parietal lobe, and frontal lobe. Hello, my name is Christine De Llanos. The purpose of the Mythbusters project is to either qualify or debunk a common psychological myth. I chose to research if humans really do use only 10% of their brain. The brain is the command center of the nervous system. It is responsible for functions such as breathing, regulating blood pressure, and much more. The origin of the 10% myth is unclear and can't really be connected to a specific event or individual. However, some people attribute the myth to a misunderstanding with a statement by William James. In the statement, James says that we are making use of only a small part of our possible mental and physical resources. This quote is not referring to how much brain power we use, but rather referring to how often we don't feel mentally or physically fully energized. He claimed that things such as societal norms were not engaging all of people's resources. In modern society, the 10% myth is still popular and circulating due to media. For instance, the 2014 movie Lucy was based on the idea of what would happen if a person were to use 100% of their brain power. A 2013 study conducted by Hughes found that the 10% misconception was one of the most popular amongst the public. In a different study, over 15% of primary and secondary teachers endorsed the myth. A reason why this myth is so popular amongst the public is because it is comforting. It feels nice to believe that your unfulfilled dreams are because you have yet to unlock the secret to using a greater percentage of your brain. After researching different articles, case studies, and PET scans, I have reached the conclusion that this myth is just that, a myth. Our brain, like other organs, have been shaped by natural selection. It is metabolically expensive to build and run brain tissue. Evolution would not squander so much energy by underutilizing the complex organ. If a person were to lose less than 90% of their brain, the consequences are catastrophic. In other words, there is not an area in the brain that an individual can lose without suffering functional deficits. Through the advancement of modern technologies such as EEGs, PET scans, and MRIs, electrical, magnetic, and chemical changes have been recorded. These changes in brain activity are then correlated to specific mental and behavioral phenomena. PET scans work by injecting a biochemical radioactive tracer that is then metabolized by the brain. As a result, positrons are emitted. The areas that are more active in the brain will emit stronger positrons. These areas will appear brighter in the PET scan. Looking at the images of a PET scan, we see what the results would look like if we used only 10% of our brain. In the other image, a normal PET scan result is depicted. What this means is that if we truly only used 10% of our brain, more areas would appear dark. So what does this mean for the myth that humans only use 10% of their brain capacity? Given the research and evidence gathered, I debunk this myth. Humans constantly utilize all regions of their brain. However, there is some truth to the myth. While humans use their full brain, at no given moment do all regions of the brain concurrently fire.